In solo leveling, high school is a world in which the strong devour the weak. New classroom, new classmates. Lee Yun-cheol chats with the peers. And with that, every judgment is made with just a single look about who will become one's friend or who will become one's lackey. Jo Sung-ho dapped Lee, urging him to get along together, and Lee guessed that he wouldn't be so bad as a friend. He thinks that's how the classroom hierarchy would roughly be set up, but the problem is that guy. While chatting with his friend, Suho felt a gaze on him and looked over, giving a casual "what's up" expression, which triggered Lee to get up from his seat and angrily call Suho an arrogant-looking bastard. Sung-ho tried to warn Lee, telling him that Suho went to the same school as him but best to mostly stay out of his way. However, this only triggered Lee even more, and he furiously asked Sung-ho if he wanted to die. Meanwhile, outside, Lee beat Sung-ho and remarked that he had been trying to protect Suho, demanding to know just who the hell Suho was. To which Sung-ho replied that Suho is the strongest guy in their middle school. He added that they couldn't even lay a hand on that guy, so he had stepped up himself because he thought something might go wrong there as well. However, Lee continued beating Sung-ho, calling him an idiot, and remarking that if someone like that really existed, there was no way there wouldn't already be rumors about him. Stepping in, Suho told Sung-ho to just say that he had handled it this time as well. This much should be already enough for self-defense, which Sung-ho agrees. As Lee processed their conversation, a sudden flying kick struck one of the thugs, sending him hurling backward, followed by a brutal hook kick that took down the other NPC beside him. Looking badass, Lee shot a jab towards Suho's groin, but Suho blocked it with his foot and deflected the strike. Switching legs in one smooth motion, Suho then forcefully kicked Lee in the jaw. As Suho finished beating all the thugs, he told Sung-ho that since things had turned out like this even here, he would be in Sung-ho's care at this school as well. As rumors about Sung-ho defeating Lee's group spread, Suho noted how bored he was. He felt like he used to know a lot of extraordinary things that made his heart race. But since he is bored, he decides to go to the internet cafe. But when he tried to open the door, it wouldn't budge. Looking outside, time suddenly slowed before coming to a complete stop outside the room. Noticing that time had stopped, he questioned how something like this could happen, when suddenly a massive gate opened inside the room. Suho wondered what that thing was, and what he was supposed to do in a situation like this. Thinking that his mom had always said he resembled his dad, Suho wondered what his father would have done in a situation like this, before slowly stepping closer and entering through the gate. Getting inside smoothly, he questioned what this place was, as the gate behind him completely disappeared. Noting that the escape route had been cut off, there was nothing left for him but to keep going forward. With a torch in his hand, Suho was amazed by the hallway filled with various weapons. Suddenly, Suho was shocked when a system panel popped up, explaining the weapons' passives. Lifting the torch, he realized that all the weapons on display had them as well, making the place feel like an actual game. As more system panels popped up, he wondered if it was telling him to pick a weapon first, but then realized that it had level-based selection restrictions, where he could change to a higher rank if he raised his level. Looking to his right, he wondered if it had been set up in that corner because it was inferior, and glanced at one of Jinwoo's daggers, commenting on who would use such a weak-looking weapon. But seeing a cool gauntlet and the other types of weapons on display, he remarked that it looked fun, noting that swords are too cliché, so why not use the gauntlet? Gearing up, Suho felt that things were getting interesting now as the system displayed the gauntlet's attributes. And Suho's status window was also displayed with his title, The Young Monarch. Suho wandered to the dungeon's hallway, questioning if this place was like a castle's basement. As he passed through, a displayed knight's eyes suddenly gleamed, and it lifted its sword, forcefully striking at Suho, who barely noticed and blocked it just in the nick of time, questioning what the fudge is happening. Dialing in, Suho forcefully parried the knight's sword and its defense, then unleashed a flurry of luffy punches until it broke apart. At that moment, the system notified him that he had just leveled up, just as he turned around, remembering that he had seen more of them on his way there. Heavy footsteps echoed as more knights appeared, surrounding Suho. Noting that it was what he had expected, the knights charged forth as he powered up his gauntlet, blitzing and smashing through them. Suho catch his breath as he leveled up multiple times in the midst of hundreds of knights surrounding him. Clenching his fist tightly, Suho dashed forward toward the horde of knights coming his way. He delivered a triple combo punch to one knight's head, while another retaliated with a swing, which Suho dodged before before countering with a roundhouse kick. Suho breathed softly, noticing that the system showed his level had reached 19, and realized that if he defeated those armored monsters, he would level up and get stronger too, noting that this really felt like a game. Maybe it was because of that he no longer struggled, even if they came at him in groups, but the levels of these guys were higher than his, so he wondered how he had been able to defeat them when he was level 1. Or was it because of this power, he wondered, as it surged through him and the system showing his stats. Standing in front of the massive door, Suho declared that he wanted to become a little stronger before proceeding to open it. Torches lit up one by one as he entered the chamber, where a Shadow Knight sat menacingly upon a throne. Under the Shadow Knight's glare, Suho wondered if this was the boss, remarking that it looked strong. At that moment, the Shadow Knight began to move, reaching for his sword before standing up with overwhelming confidence. Seeing this, Suho prepares himself, thinking that he needs to attack first. But before he could react, Igris was already right in front of him, blood spurts, as it finished him with a devastating lightning strike. His eyes widened in shock as he gasped for breath, suddenly waking up back where he had started. Suho questioned how he was still alive before finally noticing that this was the place he had started from, and wondered whether he needed to go down the same path again. As he ventured out, he realized that one of the white flames had turned off, noting that he was sure all 3 of them had been lit in the beginning, making him question whether it was just a coincidence. Piecing it together, he realized that this wasn't a coincidence at all. Since his level had increased, he decided it was time to change his weapon before heading back in, thinking that he need to be more careful, since if all 3 flames go out, he don't know what will happen afterwards. A while later, with one torch extinguished, Suho woke up again and glanced at the 3 torches, with only one remaining. This made Suho throw a tantrum in frustration, thinking about how that Black Knight was too strong. Stressed out, he remarked that at this rate, he wouldn't be able to beat Igris. Looking at the sword on display, Suho realized that it seemed like the Shadow Knight was using that weapon and wondered just how big the gap in their levels really was. Gearing himself up with many weapons, Suho decided that he would level up a little more before facing Igris, noting that this time he really needed to be careful. Many knights gathered in the hallway as Suho stepped closer, greeting them and questioning whether they weren't tired of this. Realizing that the knights revived every time too, Suho smirked, wondering if they have infinite regeneration. Suddenly, Suho smashed the knight in front of him with a long axe, pierced another with a spear, and shield bashed the one behind him, leveling up in the process. At that moment, an archer readied his aim, but Suho suddenly blitzed to his side like a Dempsey roll and punched him so hard that he was sent flying into the next panel. After clearing the wave of knights, Suho leveled up, and the system notified him that he had reached the required level for a player and was offered a title quest. Accepting it, countless gates appeared as the system notified him that the title quest would now begin, and that he could gain the points needed for a high-class title based on how long he endured. As the timer started, the system wished Suho good luck as creatures stepped out of the gates, and as more knights walked out, Suho's eyes gleamed with excitement, noting that he had been in a tough spot because he didn't have a watch, but things had turned out well. Mages cast fireballs and hurled them towards Suho, who leaped and dodged, sweating as he recovered. Soon, several mages began chanting incantations, summoning a far more massive fireball and firing it at Suho, which he barely managed to block with his shield. But before he could recover, the mages combined their auras, summoning a giant knight from the corpses of the other fallen knights. Suho merely glared at it before sighing and tossed aside his shield as he crushed the ground beneath his feet and blitzed around the giant knight, obliterating it into scrap metal. Grabbing the long sword on his back, Suho violently hurled it forward, slicing cleanly through the advancing knights until it finally wedged itself into the wall. Raising his bow, Suho drew the string while imbuing it with his aura and fires it, sending the shot straight toward the mages and knights. Landing behind them, Suho drew the dagger from behind his back and delivered a slash across the knights' heads before hauling his arms back and forcefully hurling the blades into 2 more knights. As he discarded his other weapons, Suho raised his fists, remarking that he didn't need anything else, declaring that men ought to fight with their fists. After clearing the wave, Suho leveled up. The system then notified him that he could advance to a higher class due to the accumulated advancement points he had acquired, and that a suitable class would be assigned based on an analysis of the player's achievements. Since his fighting spirit had overcome all adversities and he was not afraid of any tribulations, carrying onward by believing in his own strength, he was granted the class Fighter, being notified again that he was given the opportunity to advance to a higher class in accordance with the advancement points he has acquired, surpassing the expected playtime, maintaining more than 50% HP, and defeating all the enemies earned Suho additional points, causing the sum total of his advancement points to exceed the achievement limits, causing him to advance from Fighter into Soul Striker. But Suho knew that it still wasn't enough. In order to defeat Igris, he needed to be far stronger than he was now. As Suho decided to stay, his level increased, and he acquired the Necklace of the Watchman, the Superior Ring of the Mage, and the Scorching Gauntlets of the Fighting Phantom. Igris sat upon the throne, his aura steadily radiating as Suho walked closer, asking if he had been waiting for a long time. He then declared that now it was his turn, as the system displayed his name and showed his level at 70. Glaring at each other, Igris made the first move, lifting his sword and slashing forward, sending a surging thunder strike toward Suho, who narrowly evaded the attack. Blitzing around the boss chamber at blinding speed, the two showcased each other's incredible agility and speed. The ground shattered as the two collided, triggering a massive explosion that engulfed the entire area. As the two dashed away from the smoke, Igris unleashed countless slashes at Suho, who repeatedly dodged and fired back with counterattacks. But Suho realized that it still wasn't enough, and that he needed to go even faster. Tracing his movements, Igris slashed at Suho, who managed to block the attack, but his momentum was halted, allowing Igris to forcefully swing him away. However, kicking off the pillar, Suho bounced back, his fists dense with mana clashes with Igris's blade, creating a waves of energy that rippled across the entire room. Locking his gaze onto Suho, Igris pressed his blade down against him, questioning inwardly whether this was the power of the young monarch, even though he had yet to reach his full strength. But Suho could definitely tell now that he was fighting this opponent again after leveling up. This Black Knight is far stronger than he imagined. His stats are on a completely different level compared to the ordinary soldiers that spawned infinitely. In other words, he's extraordinary. But if this guy is extraordinary, then the same can be said for Suho. He may not know what the rules of the game are, but he was given extra stats from level 1, so was able to defeat high-level soldiers without breaking a sweat. Recalling how all of his stats went up by 1 every time he leveled up, Suho's current stats with the additional stats applied aren't at the level 70, but that means they're equivalent to a level 110. Suddenly, Suho landed a devastating punch on Igris, sending him crashing into the wall. As Igris was sent smashing into the wall, Suho pressed forward, driving his fist into him, before unleashing a flurry of punches that sent them crashing through the wall. Regaining his footing, Suho charged up and punched Igris, sending him flying once more as his body cracked from the impact. At that moment, Igris acknowledged Suho's incredible potential, the innate mana and talent born of his liege, who had become one with a divine being, and the legacy of an S-rank awakened hunter from a forgotten history. Even in a state where he did not yet know how to properly use such power, Suho was able to bring out this much strength, prompting Igris to finally admit his defeat to the young monarch as Suho's punch obliterated him into pieces. As Igris crumbled into dust, Suho let out a victorious war cry, declaring that he won as he leveled up several times. And as Suho celebrated his victory, another gate appeared, making him wonder if that was finally the exit. Entering through the gate, Suho noticed the D-Tower in Songpa District, but it was completely engulfed in flames. Glancing over, he saw the gatekeeper of Hell, Cerberus. As their eyes met, the creature seemed to recognize Jinwoo, prompting it to grow nervous and refrain from moving. This made Suho guess that this wasn't a monster at all, but merely a ferocious-looking sculpture. Seeing another door, Suho entered, knowing that if he didn't open it, nothing would happen. He then arrived on the other side, where hundreds of demon monsters swarmed the area, surrounding Suho with their numbers. But in the blink of an eye, they were all defeated. Dumbfounded by how weak they were, Suho quickly raided the floors from 10th floor, 20th floor, 30th floor, 40th floor, and 50th floor. Suho wondered if he had leveled up too much just to fight that Black Knight, although the map is pretty large, but if he diligently run around, then he should be able to clear 1 floor per hour. Finally reaching the 100th floor, Suho noted that it shouldn't be anything impressive. But then his eyes widened in shock as he saw a female demon with a chaperone.